Welcome back, everybody, to the Omniverse Comics Guide podcast, where you are going to go down a rabbit hole with Alice in Wonderland as we talk about our favorite Marvel or most wanted Marvel omnibuses and compendiums that have not been released
Oh,
just yet. This, I am your host, Eric Anthony. That is my pal who's supposed to be Dave. Dave,
I thought this was our
who are
top
you
10
today?
Easter comics.
Easter eggs, top 10 Easter
Oh, we
eggs.
could do that.
Yes,
Yeah, scrap what we were going to
that
do.
would be
Let's
a
do
good
that.
one. Okay, let's change just the little header
All
and
right.
we'll
Let me just
redo a whole
open up
list. Let me go
InDesign.
through the Rolodex. I knew there was gonna be
No!
something. That's why I didn't take a sip of water or anything.
We're doing
Um,
top 10 most wanted Marvel omnibuses and or compendiums if they ever do
yes, yeah.
them.
Everyone wants to know what we haven't gotten yet, right?
Yeah.
It just gets our
Juices
our
flowing.
imaginations going. So, absolutely. For everybody who's hanging out with us on the Twitch, thank you, of course, for joining us. We love hanging out together for these episodes. Everybody watching on YouTube, please hit that rate and subscribe button, that notification. We appreciate it. Give us a review, comment, tell us what we're doing right, what we could do better. And if you're listening on any podcast platform, again, give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. But as always, please go to the omniversecomics.guide website where you can find all of our podcasts, creator interviews, collector item specials, manga specials. We've got reading orders that Dave meticulously puts together. The best on the net, second to none.
Stop it, you big kiddo.
Omniversecomics.guide. Hey, it's true. It's not hard when it's true.
I study hard when you start
Dave,
bigging me up.
I was waiting. I was waiting for the innuendo. I was like, let me just wait.
Give him a moment. So,
So we were talking a little bit before we officially started the show.
yeah.
For those of us who were with us live on Twitch, we're saying that a lot of our previous years where we've done this episode, a lot of those books that we were most wanted are being released, have been released.
Yeah.
I don't know if we just got good taste or they're just listening to
Well,
us. I mean, we
there's
did
that.
it, guys.
Uh,
We did it.
but yeah, I mean, there's still a lot we haven't seen. But like the Spectacular Spider-Man, James DeMatteis and Sal Buscema is a really good example. That's just come out. That was a real hard push from yourself there, dude. Immortal Hulk, Captain America by Grunwald, Daredevil by Nocenti, Doctor Strange by Stern, kind of Master of the Mystic Arts is going that way. We're seeing it all come together, which is great.
Yeah,
but it
there's
is
a lot
making
of
it
them.
hard to choose
It's so
new
cool.
stuff that they haven't covered yet.
Yeah. And yeah, we don't want to sound repetitive because there are those couple where that would still be cool. And I still think that might be a long shot, but we'll save it. At this point, nothing seems to be a long shot. All right, I think it's your turn to start first.
Oh,
If
okay.
not, have you start first anyways.
Oh, aren't you a little sweetheart? All right, then. My first choice for tonight, seeing as you're so kind, sir, is Incredible Hulk by Bill Mantlo, which I'm really struggling to believe hasn't happened yet when you consider all these old school runs that they've been releasing. So Bill's run was, I don't want to say Mantlo all the time. It feels weird coming out of my teeth. But yeah, his run was pretty lengthy. So it went from Incredible Hulk 245 to 313, which, I mean, that's a hell of a run, man. But, I mean, I'll list the stuff I wanted to include in it, which was, yeah, Incredible Hulk 245 to 313, Incredible Hulk Annual 10 to 13, Alpha Flight 29, Defenders number 30, which I think is the first time he wrote the Hulk, which then leads into Marvel Treasury Edition number 12, Marvel Team Up 53 to 54, and Quest Probe number 1. Hey, you can't leave that out. We all want to read the Quest Probe miniseries. And I mean,
They were done on purpose.
who doesn't like a Quest Probe from time to time?
From time to time, you need one, right?
Yeah.
Every now and again.
Yeah.
A good quest probe goes a long way.
Exactly, as long as you've prepared yourself.
Yeah. They name stuff like that on purpose. They had to.
I
There's no
swear
way.
they do.
Giant size man thing. Get a grip.
Well, exactly. On both counts.
All right.
So,
On
Mantlo's
both counts. We intend that fun.
yes. Mantlo's run to try and get back on track, but why bother? Was he's got his very own Green Goliath. It basically started with just your standard kind of Hulk stories, but over time it took a bit of a new direction, and he was playing with the idea of having Banner in control of the Hulk. So that's a fair chunk of that, and that's what took us up to Secret Wars. So in Secret Wars 1984, the Hulk was smarter because it was Banner mostly in control. Although at that point he's actually starting to lose control again. So he's kind of swaying each way for that whole 12-issue mini. And then by the time he comes back, it's like it's going very much the opposite direction again. One issue would probably be missing, which is the issue with Rom in it, because Marvel no longer have the rights to, or do they? They might still have the rights to print Rom. So if this is a good time to run these while they've got the rights, because otherwise that's always going to have an issue missing. But otherwise, yeah, he got to the end of his run and he was kind of getting tired of it. And John Byrne was doing Alpha Flight, but he didn't really have a sense of direction for it. So they basically swapped titles. So there is that crossover at the end. But otherwise, it's a pretty straight run. You know, doesn't deviate much, doesn't cross over much. It may not be the most groundbreaking.
How many omnibuses? How many omnibuses would it take to collect it? Okay,
yeah,
that's reasonable.
Yeah, because I mean it's 54, 55, 60, yeah, 2 comfortably.
And I think just for the fact that there are so many diehard fans of the Hulk, like there's a market for people who would be fans of that stuff because that was their era. They were the right age when those stories. What decade was it? Was it the mid
like
80s?
1980 to about 86.
So at this time, was the television show with Lou Ferrigno still a thing, or had it become made-for-TV movie?
It was still a thing, I think,
type?
because it used to be on when I was showing my age now. It used to be on when I was little, and I was terrified of the Hulk TV show. I used to run upstairs and hide in my room. But then none of the lights were on. And I used to think the Hulk was going to come out. I found the Hulk as that muscly man with the wig way scarier than, you know, an actual Hulk. Because like, why is he wearing flip flops? It's weird.
It's true. Flip flops. Nice pick.
There was
Never
a
been
point,
mentioned before.
Marvel Man made a point in the chat actually. He said, I think Al Milgrom wrote some before Peter David. So after the Mantlo run ends, there is a gap between that and the Peter David run, which is basically from 328, and then it's a gap in 330 upwards. But I think that it's collected in the Peter David omnis from 328, if I remember rightly. So they could do a Grey Hulk omnibus that sits in the middle. But they've kind of done that as an epic collection already.
All right, I'm gonna go into my bag of fun for
what was it called? Your tickle trunk.
My tickle trunk, my bag of fun. All right. Now that we have the JMD Sal Buscema Spectacular Spider-Man omnibus that became a real thing, I'm like, man, that's great. We've got 2 Web of Spider-Man omnibuses. One I think is released, one's coming out. I think it's only appropriate that we get a Jerry Conway Sal Buscema Spectacular Spider-Man omnibus. And I had mentioned earlier in, I think, Spider-Man in the 80s, we did? Yes, we did Spider-Man in the 80s.
Yeah, we did.
Year.
You're right.
And I had picked one of the stories, which was the Tombstone story that they had put out a collection for, and there's no part 2 to complete that set of stories. So it would be great if they just made a Jerry Conway, Sal Buscema. I think it would be pretty much the same size as the one that they just put out. I think the runs are fairly similar in length, and they button up to each other. And it's a really strong era of Spider-Man story. Like there's cool stuff that happens with characters that aren't used necessarily in the big Amazing Spider-Man blockbuster title of the time, which I always say that book is very design art driven, whereas the spectacular stories are more story driven.
Yeah, they kind of got a lot of the lower tier character focus as well.
Yeah, but it's a really cool time for the character because it digs in a little bit deeper into like his relationship side. Yeah, I think Amazing was so bombastic that this was a little bit more. It was slower paced, but not. I don't know how to describe it. It was almost like a Netflix television show versus a 2-hour movie.
Well, yeah, it's kind of your. I mean, in some ways, it's got that kind of comfort comic side of it. It's like good old reliable old school Spider-Man. While Amazing was like, now make Todd draw this character. Now make him draw Mysterio. Now make him do the Scorpion. Like it basically was just that. It was kind of villain of the week, or villain of the story arc. But yeah, Conway was on both Web and Spectacular, and collecting both of those together alongside is actually a really good call.
Yeah, it would only make sense. Yeah, because he was, I feel like his second time on writing Spider-Man, maybe because he wasn't on Amazing,
Hmm.
but it's kind of like overlooked a little bit. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of quality storytelling that's done there that I feel because maybe he didn't have that big, huge death to Gwen Stacy moment or what have you, it's not quite put on the same pedestal, but it's quality stuff. And Sal Buscema, having him consistently on that book, maybe it could get boring for some people where they're just seeing the same artist week at month after month. But in this regard, there's a nice consistency.
Uh,
A breakup in the annuals where you get your guest artists and whatnot, but in
and
the main story, it's a good time on the book.
yeah, well, it'd be a breakup with Webb as well, because if that's included, you get Alex Saviuk, is it? It's pronounced? I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
the
Yeah.
name butcher. I'm Boar, the name butcher. Um, yeah, it's because the thing is, there's like a gang war storyline going on that appears in both
Mhm.
titles. There's a chameleon storyline that affects both titles. So as those two titles are going along, if you get the Amazing Spider-Man omnibus with the McFarlane and Michelini stuff, you might see the occasional character pop up and go, "What's happening with what now?" And it's because it's all happening over
Yeah.
there. So it would make for a more
Yeah.
complete reading experience. And someone really should do a reading order of that era because it's fun times.
Do you know where we could get one? Like, is there one out there right now?
Well, there's definitely one of 1984 to 1985, I think. So if you go to
Yeah.
omniversecomics.guide, then you will find one there. But it should be followed up
All
very
right.
soon with the next chunk for sure.
Dave, give us your number two.
This one has got the smell of engine oil. There we go. Because it's Machine Man omnibus, please. It's not a joke. I do want a Machine Man omnibus. I freaking love Machine Man. The first series he had was 19 issues, initially by Jack Kirby. Well, it was Jack Kirby's one in 2001: A Space Odyssey, 8 to 10, in which he was called Mr. Machine. And then that jumps into, and it's got his origin, and that jumps into Machine Man first series 1 to 19. So I think it's about the first 10 issues of Jack Kirby. And then the other 9 issues are Steve Ditko. And I can't remember if Ditko was writing as well off the top of my head. Damn it, should have checked that. But those two classic creators on just a bull bags, bananas, what the hell is going on series. Like, the guy produces wheels out of his butt and jumps over crowds of army dudes shooting at him and like, what is going on? What is this about? So if you don't know who Machine Man is, he's X-51. He was the 51st version of this machine that's supposed to be a military, like, killing machine that walks like a man, and it's got its various little weapons and things that come out of him. But he gained sentience and escaped thanks to the Tycho monoliths, which is why we probably won't get the 2001 Space Odyssey issues reprinted ever, which is a real shame. It'd be good if Marvel could work something out. Anyway, he escapes and the military are after him because, that's like, it harks back to your classic Hulk setup in many ways. But then he eventually gets an office job because why not? And he disguises himself as a human called Aaron Stack, and he learns how to be human. But it's just insanity. The whole thing is just crazy because it's 70s Kirby. Like, why wouldn't it be insane? It's a fairly lengthy list, but I'm going to go for it. So bear with me. So 2001: A Space Odyssey 8 to 10, Avengers 287 to 290, which is during the Stern run, Incredible Hulk 235 to 237, Iron Man 168. You got the first Machine Man series 1 to 19. How can they not include Volume 2 of Machine Man from 1984, which was the series set in the future? Love that. Marvel Team Up 99, Marvel Team Up Annual 3, Marvel 2 193, Marvel Comics Presents 10, and a way in the future but set in the past storyline from X-Men First Class 13 to 14. I never know if X-Men First Class, I can't decide, and there seems to be a lot of dispute as to whether or not it's set in 616 continuity. The problem with it is that would be in the 60s era stuff, whereas Machine Man debuted in like the later 70s, so actually the continuity probably doesn't add up. But chuck them in anyway, why not? I did work out a thing for a volume 2, but I'm not going to read that. Otherwise, I'm just sat here listing comics. But that would be the later stuff with X-51, which wasn't as good as I think it could have been. Because it wasn't technically Machine Man. In that series, he gets taken over by Sentinel programming. You go, like, yeah, but it's not really Machine Man,
And
then, is it?
they've never put this out yet, huh?
Well, they did it as a trade
'Cause I've seen them.
paperback a while ago, a
Yeah,
few years
that's
ago, but it
like
didn't have
something
all those
pretty
issues
sizable,
in.
right?
It was a bit of a
Okay.
chunker, But I mean,
Yeah.
if you added a few more issues in, I think you could get an omnibus out of it. And plus, it's omnibus format. If they could wangle some kind of deal with whatever film company it is to get those 3 issues of 2001 in there, that would be amazing. Because otherwise, they'll never see the light of day. And it's a shame to lose that Jack Kirby stuff. But
Yeah.
all of his 70s stuff is bonkers, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
lunacy.
Very.
But I love it. I love Kirby's 70s stuff
I got
because
his
it makes
Captain
no
America,
sense.
and yeah, I feel like if you're gonna read his Captain America, and he was so like super straight edge apparently, I
Doesn't
feel like
read
it would
that way,
only
does
help
it?
if it exactly like you probably need something to really, oh, that's where his head's at,
Or be slightly
because it's
unhinged.
like you said, yeah, it's wild stuff, and anything goes, anything. It's like stream of consciousness type of comics,
Yeah, it's like
and now
those
I want to do
parties I used
that.
to go to in the 90s.
Ah, Dave. Moving along for my number two. Have you thought of any series? I'm gonna maybe down in your list, you've got some things that could be compendiums because Marvel doesn't really make compendiums.
No, but they
Do you have a
should.
couple yeah, do you have a couple picks that are like specifically like I'd like this to be a compendium? Do you have any like that on your list?
Mostly stuff that they haven't. No, that they have released already
Okay.
in omnibus format. But I
Okay.
wouldn't pay for the omnibus. But so like New Warriors, I loved the first run, but I wouldn't want 3 volumes of it.
Yes.
You know, in omnibus format.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'd
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it
yeah.
in
I
compendium
think I
format.
think that's a I think that's a part two, side B we could do. Just ones that we want
Flip that
that
disc.
exist. That's like, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Flip it,
Skill
turn
on
the
the
record over. All
turntables,
right,
Mo Flipper.
my number two.
Yes.
I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I might have, so pardon me if I have in years
You're
past. But
pardoned.
it is a Captain America omnibus from, of course, one of my favorites, J.M. DeMatteis and Mike Zeck.
Who?
Huh. Who? What? And
Who?
again, this is a pretty pivotal time for the character. Like it's a quality era of storytelling. And Mike Zeck, I mean, you got an extended period of time looking at his artwork. It's always a treat, right? And him and JMD during this time was a lot of fun. Like it was a how can I put it? Unique. Like it stood out on its own, where you can put it up against other people's runs and it has its own sort of feel to it. But again, the team of JMD, Mike Zeck, the team that brought us Craven's Last Hunt, I think it's like 30 issues or if not more of them working together, and it works up to a big moment in Captain America's storyline, which I think he had a lot more planned, but editorial was saying we're not going to go with that direction that you wanted after the I don't want to spoil it, but the trades give it away if you look at what the last trade of this storyline is.
Whisper to me what it
Culminates in
was.
him and Red Skull.
Oh.
Something about the Red Skull, right?
Oh. Are we thinking up to 300?
Right. And yes.
Okay.
So I don't know which are the issues that would this would collect, but I think it could fit in one omnibus.
Well, do me a
Maybe two.
favor. If you say to me, if you say, "Oh, I think you could collect," and I'll just edit it in later. I think this should
Okay.
definitely collect, blah, 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 and move your mouth, and then I'll edit it in.
Okay. Really think they should collect the JMD run with Mike Zeck from issues.
258 to 300, annual 5 to 8, Defenders
Oh,
106
yeah,
to
you should include
109,
that.
Marvel Team Up 119 and 128.
Oh yeah. Oh, good point.
That's it.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I hadn't even thought of that one myself.
Yeah, why not? Let's go.
Plus, you get the
let's get it going.
Ameridroid.
The Ameridroid.
Yeah.
What issue's that?
Well, that's
See?
the weird thing with it, because some of it feels kind of modern, and you know, like, I love the Scarecrow storyline especially because it's really kind of creepy and twisted.
Yeah, yes.
And
yes.
then you got Doctor Octopus
Very.
fight, which is unexpected, and then you got this very 70s style Ameridroid thing where he fights this giant robot Captain America. Like, why? It's brilliant. I love those stories, man. All right, I'm gonna do a number 3. It's not going to be a ridiculous list like some of the others. I'm looking at you, all 4 choices. Yeah, this one is much more briefer, and it's called, I would call it controversially, the Fantastic Four by Carlos Pacheco. I loved his stuff. Absolutely loved his stuff. I was pretty devastated about the news when he was no longer with us. And this run, even though story-wise, it may not be the best FF stories you'll read, they're some of the best looking you'll ever see. So it's Fantastic Four 1998 series 35 to 54 and Fantastic Four Annual 2001. And that annual reintroduces a major character who was killed off a couple of years earlier. And I don't normally like resurrections, but it makes sense to bring this dude back. But also they could include the Inhumans 2000 series, because there was a 1998 Inhuman series by Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee. And this wasn't a sequel, but it was written by Carlos Pacheco and the art was by Jose Ladron. And I loved it. And it was beautiful to look at. It was so, I'd love to get that in print again, because I had the 4-issue mini years ago and I no longer have it. But yeah, that sums up my number 3 for the most part. I mean, you will see all the classic kind of stuff. Diablo's in it. There's not a huge amount of Doom, but you do see Doom towards the end, and it does introduce a key member of the Future Foundation, shall we say. All right, mama. Let's take a look at our 5 most popular event reading orders. Last time we did characters, this time we're doing events. At number 5, we've got Planet Hulk from 2006 to 2007. Number 4, The Infinity Gauntlet from 1991-92. Number 3, a more recent post that I did add, which is Brand New Day, the Spider-Man saga. Number 2, our 1DC event on there, which is the Warworld saga. And at number 1, Secret Wars, because everyone's looking at the reading order thinking it's the other Secret Wars, I think. That might not be true. I love the 1980s Secret Wars, but I am going to do the other Secret Wars. I'm just putting it off because I hated it.
I think most people associate Secret Wars with the old one. I would think so.
If you read comics, but I mean, like, they're announcing these films. Obviously, they're going to do Avengers Secret Wars. Is it called that? I can't remember. Avengers Battle, whatever it's called. Who cares? Not going to watch it anyway. But I think if people who don't know the comics might go, I'm going to look up Secret Wars and I'm going to read it. But there's 2 Secret Wars. I think. Well, there's 4 technically. 5.
Yeah.
Secret Wars 2, Secret Wars 3. There is a story which is on the website as well. Secret War, and then there's the 2015 Secret Wars. See, this is the problem.
Wars. 1984.
That's the only one. Only one that matters. The one.
That's it.
All right, it's your number 3, my friend.
Number 3. All right. I'm gonna go with a Fantastic Four as well.
Ooh.
And I think it's an overlooked, underrated, hidden gem, if you will, of the Fantastic Four. Maybe I'm completely wrong. It's the James Robinson, Leonard Kirk, the last era of the Fantastic Four before Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Canceled the book, essentially.
Yeah.
This was a pretty fun book.
It was.
It was a good-looking book, consistent. And I remember reading it because the trades had been like kind of thrown in bargain bins as though it was a throwaway series, and it had gotten well received critically, so I gave it a chance. And I really enjoyed it. The art was very consistent. I think Leonard Kirk was a right fit for the Fantastic Four. And I think it deserves to be revisited, reformatted. It'd be a good compendium option, and it'd be a good omnibus option. 19 issues. I'm not sure if there's anything else included as far as like a crossover tie-in, anything like that would put it into the 20-page or the 20-issue.
Can't remember.
But I mean, we've got the Superior Foes of Spider-Man as an omnibus. I think we can definitely put together this entire run collected. Please.
Yeah, it's a great, really, really nice run. And do you know what? I hadn't thought about it in ages. And when you said that, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that was really good. All right.
Dave, take it away. You're number 4. We both didn't choose Fantastic Fours for our number 4. It would have been so poetic.
Total missed opportunity.
All right. Oh, well.
Professional podcasters. Right, my number 4 is Incredible Forkules. Thought I might get away with it, but no. It's Incredible Hercules. There was a complete collection, but it ran out before it was complete. Because technically there were a few more issues and another little crossover and stuff, and they could have completed it, but they didn't. So Hercules is Thor's best mate. He's the character of myth. But I've never really warmed to him that much. I think I liked him in some things. I liked him in Avengers at some points when he was kind of being a bit obnoxious and annoying. And then he just kind of became like, I'm an average strong bloke in the 90s. But I mean, I kind of like the 90s Avengers, even though most people don't. But yeah, he's not someone I kind of look forward to. But Incredible Hercules was really good fun. And part of the reason for it was because they paired him up with Amadeus Cho, who was a Hulk-related character. They introduced Amazing Fantasy Volume 3, number 15. So that's the 2004 series. And he's a huge Hulk fan, and he was one of the smartest people on Earth, and he's just a kid. And then they ended up pairing them up during World War Hulk. And it just worked. Like, why? Why does that work? It shouldn't work. Part of it is just because it's funny. Like, it's a funny book. I don't think Greg Pak's a particularly funny writer, but when he was working on those two characters, something just gelled. So I've listed, strap in, it's going to be a list, Incredible Hercules 113 to 141. That little Amazing Fantasy number 15 story with Amadeus Cho in it. Assault on New Olympus, number 1. Chaos War 1 to 5. I've only included Chaos War, Chaos King of the tie-ins for Chaos War, because let's face it, you could probably do a Chaos War omnibus, but we'll deal with that another time. You can put Chaos War Saga in as well if you want, why not? Giant Size Hulk, there's an Amadeus Cho story in there as well, which links in. Heroic Age Prince of Power 1 to 4. Hulk versus Hercules When Titans Collide 1. Incredible Hulk 100. And 106 to 112. And I've just realised, oh, for shame, I think there is another little mini story in the Heroic Age 1 to 4 series.
Shame on you. Your mapping is, we'd be lost.
Trying to get
If we
mapping.
depended on your mapping, we'd be lost.
So,
Nice.
it spins
You
out
gotta-
of World War Hulk, goes through Secret Invasion, and ends with Chaos War. So there's some big events in there, but you don't need to read all those events. You can basically just read this, and it will tell you everything you need to know. Apart from they do join the Mighty Avengers, and I did consider throwing them in to this as well, but I just think that would be too big. And it also includes Hercules Fall of an Avenger, which I nearly forgot, but obviously just my incredible memory straight in there.
I'm telling you, that memory's amazing.
Isn't it?
Second to none.
It's like those reading orders.
Got a couple fans with your pick in the chat.
Oh,
Omega Bread said, I love the Incredible Herc. The sound effects alone were worth the admission
yeah.
price.
Oh.
Me Trunk said, Incredible Hercules was great. Still have all the trades. I'm going to pick a Hulk as well.
Ooh,
This is
look
going to
at
upset
you,
you.
all grown up.
I don't mean to upset you, Dave, but I didn't dislike The Incredible Hulk by Mark Waid into the Jerry Duggan era. I had those two complete collection trades. I read them kind of together around the same time. I just kind of went through it.
Indestructible.
Indestructible Hulk. Yes, the Indestructible Hulk. And then I don't know what the next series was that Mark Waid started off writing, and then it blended into Jerry Duggan continuing it on with Mark Bagley on art. And the
it was just called
the
Hulk.
first, yes, still have it. Yeah, I have it right here on my shelf. The Indestructible Hulk. Who was the main? I know Walt Simonson comes on board to do a storyline here. They have complete collections for it. So if you're a fan of the Hulk and you want to read this era during, I think, the Marvel Now time,
Okay.
it's collected in two completes, but put them together. Let's get an omnibus that gets us that whole time of what the Hulk was doing then.
What
Mark
issues
Waid.
would you include
man.
in there?
What issues would I include? It would include the Indestructible Hulk 1 to 20, annual number 1, as well as the Incredible Hulk 2014 series,
Yeah.
issues 1 to 16, annual 1, and Original Sins issues 3.1 to 3.4.
Oh, the Iron Man thing.
I don't remember. But I remember enjoying it when I read them. How do you feel about this era? I don't think you're a fan, are you?
I
We
liked
talked
that
about it
they
before.
tried to wrap up a lot of dangling stuff. And I like it when things stop dangling before me. It was this is what they seemed to be doing, was the wrap up of so many threads before Secret Wars, when it looked like they were gonna, or they said they were gonna restart the Marvel Universe. And that's why I was like, yeah, good, we get to see how it all ends. And it addressed so many issues, so many things, and even the outstanding thing of like, there are so many Hulks at this point, and they find a way to resolve that. And I thought, that's great. This is great. we get to see how it ends.
Mm,
But and then they
yeah.
carried on anyway after Secret Wars because it was a ruse.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. I was just, going through my shelf of things that I have kept and things that I plan hopefully to reread at some point in time. Like, you know what? I'm kind of fond of this. I know it's a little bit of a dark horse pick, maybe a hidden gem or a guilty pleasure, but why not? Let's get everything.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the whole
And
point,
it's
right?
Mark Wade.
Well, there is a
Yeah.
question from BC Scrubs in the chat, and it was: is it Ron Garney art on Hulk? I think that's the much earlier run in the late '90s,
Yeah.
but I think it
I
starts
could
with
check
Mark
for you.
Silvestri. Oh no, there was another 7-issue thing with Mark Silvestri and Jason Aaron as well that could be included because it's fairly
Yes.
short.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, it's just before that. So
But
Lanil Francis Yu is on the art.
ah,
Um, yeah. Walt Simonson, Matteo Scalera.
really?
Matteo Scalera is a great. Yeah, yeah. And
Don't
Mahmoud
remember.
Aswar is also on. Yeah, there's quite a 1 to 5 Lanil Francis Yu, 9 to 10 Matteo Scalera, 11 to 15 Matteo Scalera. Yeah, no, there's some good stuff in this. I
That's
like it,
decent, man. I'd buy
and I
that.
like
I'd buy
Mark
that
Waid.
for $1.
Okay, you're number 5.
All right, my last one for tonight is annoying. So, they've recently announced the release of X-Men Messiah Trilogy Omnibus. No. Stop it. Stop it. That's part of a great run. Why wouldn't you just include the run and sell a series of books? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So, I'm proposing the X-Men Messiah Complex run, which is largely the Ed Brubaker stuff. But wanted to, so we know we're not going to get all the X books in these things. They've stopped doing that now, so there's no point in asking for it because it ain't happening. So what I've suggested is Uncanny X-Men 475 to 499, New X-Men 44 to 46, X Factor 25 to 27, X-Men 188 to 207, Annual X-Men Annual 1, Deadly Genesis 1 to 6, Endangered Species one shot and all the backup stories, and X-Men Messiah Complex 1. So it's all the stuff that happens after Decimation, because the X-Men titles were odd after House of M. It wasn't good reading. They just had the wrong creative teams on both the main titles, and it wasn't working. They were a chore. But then they got Ed Brubaker to do the Deadly Genesis miniseries, and then he took over Uncanny X-Men. And it started off with the Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire, or Fall and Rise. I can't remember if they flipped it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Rise and
that's
Fall. Yeah.
such... I loved that storyline. And then he stayed on the book, and I thought he'd leave after that. But he didn't. And there's a little bit of a meandering few issues in there, but then it really picks up pace again, and then it builds into the Messiah Complex crossover, which is like, it was the most excited I was about the X-Men in years. And it started off this fantastic run. So it was going to be X-Men by Ed Brubaker, and then there's a point where it's sort of partly Brubaker and partly Fraction. So like, well, okay, how do we do we do Brubaker and Fraction? But then it's not, there isn't the room to build. So if we just stop doing it by creators and just do it by kind of chunks of time, you can start with X-Men Messiah
us a
Complex,
story.
those issues. So
Yeah.
apart from the Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire stuff and the introduction of Vulcan, in X-Men, I mean, it was a bit of a weird time, but I kind of liked it in its own way. But it was Rogue's team of X-Men, and they were up against the Children of the Vault and new characters. And then they started building towards Messiah Complex, and you had Blinded by the Light story arc from X-Men as well. So that had the X-Men against the Marauders. So they've been fighting all these new characters for a while, and then they pitted them against the Marauders. And Mr. Sinister is after something. So it's a period of time when the population of mutants, it was down to about 10% in theory. So the X-Men, the mutants, were kind of thinking they were going to become extinct. And Mr. Sinister has a plan, but are his plans good or are they not good? And so Blinded by the Light is a story in X-Men 200 to 204, I think. And that had that little scrap going on. That led into Messiah Complex. And Messiah Complex is the first mutant birth since the events of House of M, since M Day, where there hasn't been a mutant birth since. And that's this, it's an incredible cross. I loved it. There's some great art teams on there. Some of it's by Peter David, so that's a win. Although he always gets the raw deal of like, okay, there's a major this is an X Factor chapter, so we've got the X Factor characters doing something. And then the other two chapters, they're not really doing it. It's still just the X-Men. But still, it's a really worthwhile event. And then they could follow this up with X-Men, I think it was Divided We Stand or something like that, but they could collect all of that into one book and then do the next chunk and the next chunk. And that would be really cool, because this was such a good run for the X-Men, and that leads into Utopia. So that they progress really quickly, and you see this rapid evolution of the X-Men as they start to relocate.
It's a great time for comics.
Brilliant time for comics. And even then,
everything was just firing.
Well, the best thing about it as well was the X-Men had kind of held their own corner of the Marvel Universe for so long by this point. They dip back in occasionally, and but this comes to a head by the time the Utopia storyline comes along, and Norman Osborn's got his own Avengers by that time. And so the X-Men are kind of played out as terrorists again. Or what are they doing? What's happening on this island for mutants? And that then leads to another... It's just that they use the ongoing continuity of the rest of the Marvel Universe to really back up and prop up the X-Men and bring them back in to the Marvel Universe as a whole. And that's what made reading pretty much everything from this era worthy of your time. Because it just paid off. Because that's happening. Right. So I am doing very soon, I promise, Raph, I'm doing the 2004 Marvel Universe reading order, and I'm going to go through to 2010 and show you how it all fits together and what you can skip and so on and so forth. But this is part of that era.
He's going to do it.
Going to do it, I promise you.
Yeah.
It just
he
takes
he's going to do it. He's going to do
a
it.
bit of time, because the way I do reading orders these days is a little bit more complicated.
I am going to go with my number 5 this one's a repeat offender from a couple years ago for sure. It's Hercules' best friend. Tom DeFalco, Ron Frenz, Mighty Thor. Let's get some omnis out for this. A run that is pretty significant in the characters' publishing. There's a lot of cool things that happened during this time, a lot of cool moments. It is the follow-up run to the Walt Simonson era. And they're on the book for, I think, about 7 years. It collects what I'm thinking it would collect. I didn't put in the annuals, but it'd be issues number 383 to about 460. So I think that's like 77 issues here, give or take, of Mighty Thor that isn't collected. And they got it in the Epic Collections. It's all been put together. But I think as well, the Thor Core Wars would also be included in this. Long run on the character.
Potentially Thunderstrike.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry.
Some Thunderstrike stuff, depending on how they break up these omnis. But there's a good chunk of fan favorite stories here that are worthwhile, and some really cool moments in the character's history. We've got a bunch of other Thor omnis that are out there. This one deserves its place on your shelf if you're a Thor fan. Hot take.
It was 1987 to 1993. That's a hell of a run.
Yeah, and it was not a bad book. Like, I put this, it kind of reminds me in the way of Superman during that era, where there's a strong title that's consistent, and there's that comfort comic, and they're doing things, and they're introducing characters into that main character's world, kind of giving them a grounding with Kevin Masterson, Eric Masterson, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like, giving Thor people that he can care about on a different level, and then still making some of these adventures like involve the Celestials and get very, very cosmic, and Jack Kirby, which was out of their comfort zone because they were working on Spider-Man, and from what they've shared with us is that they were going to go to do Daredevil, and instead they found themselves working on Thor, and it just kind of snowballed from there, and they stayed with the book.
If you do want to find out some of that background stuff that Eric was just talking about, you can hop yourself over to his interview with Ron Frenz himself.
Dave, always a pleasure to see you. Everybody that's on the Twitch, we love you guys. And everybody on YouTube who's following us and sending us comments and whatnot, we really appreciate the support. Visit us at omniversecomics.guide. That's the place. You got everything there. .guide. omniversecomics.guide. Dave.
See you later.
I'm melting. See you later.